Marketing and Finance from MDS University, Ajmer. He has 20 plus years of work experience in construction, chemicals and building materials industry and has worked on various infrastructure and building projects. Sir has published more than 20 technical papers in various magazines and journals and delivered more than 100 technical presentations and conducted training programs at various platforms in private and government sectors. Today, Sir will be presenting on the topic Recent Trends in Energy Efficiency and Thermal Comfort in Modern Green Buildings. We request Mr. Rajiv Gupta Sir to address the session.
Sir, you have to unmute yourself. We are not able to hear you. Rajiv, sir, are we audible to you?
Am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I hope screen is visible.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Yeah. So good afternoon to all of you. Before I start my presentation on the topic, I would like to thank all of you for sparing time and also for inviting me for this very interesting topic. Although this topic is not my core subject, but it's really very interesting. So I could not stop myself to accept this invitation. So thank you all of you. So main contents of my presentation will be, I will be discussing initially about my company ATMAS, briefly about what our business, what we are into, what solutions we offer to construction industry, and then I will come to the subject. So I will start with the concept of green building and sustainability, and then I will touch energy consumption, thermal comfort, what are the recent trends, all those things. And I expect to complete this in about 45 minutes. So I start with an introduction to ATMAS. ATMAS is an Indian company with headquarters at Hyderabad. We are about 37-year-old company we established in 1983. And as a group, we are about more than 450 crores sales turnover company and trying to approach 500 crores. Under ATMAS, we have 4 or 5 different companies, which includes ATMAS resins, under which we manufacture polyester resins, which are used primarily into manufacturing of FRP, fiber reinforced polymers. And we are a leading player, and definitely we are the largest one in South India for resins. Our another line of business is ATMAS Construction Chemicals, Under this, we manufacture different kind of chemical solutions for construction industry. And we have more than 4 joint ventures with various European and American companies to introduce various unique and very innovative solutions to Indian market. We also have a presence in real estate business through ACMAS projects, which construct some small format real estate projects, mainly in Hyderabad. We also have a company which deals into software, especially in healthcare softwares. And that is a company which is registered in USA, California. And we have a foundation which supports the education of poor children in their education through We Are With You Foundation. So our core business is manufacturing of resins, and we supply to various industries that includes railways, defense, automobiles, molded furnitures, engineered marble, and there are so many applications of FRP nowadays. As far as this ACMAS as a group, we are a very innovative company. We invest a lot on technology. We invest more than 3 to 3.5% of our total sales turnover on developing new technologies, mainly in research and development. Our focus is on developing green solutions, and more than 50% of our total sales turnover is achieved with new products. So we keep innovating and introducing new products very fast. Our central R&D center is at Hyderabad, and we have technical labs all across major cities across India. We have technical collaborations with various European companies and American companies. We have also partnership with various universities in India as well as abroad. As far as our association with construction industry is concerned, we have been associated with real estate, industrial, infrastructure, all kind of projects. That includes metro rails, airports, dams, residential buildings, commercial buildings, industrial projects, and so on. If we talk about our association with key developers, builders, and contractors, government departments, these are some of our key customers who have been regularly using ACMAS solutions. That includes all leading real estate developers across India. So under ACMAS Construction Chemicals, we offer solutions which includes concrete additives, means concrete admixtures, curing compound, deshuttering oils, then a very wide range of waterproofing solutions that includes very basic solutions to very high-end solutions. Then a lot of solutions related to repair and retrofitting of concrete structures, solutions for construction joint treatment, expansion joint solutions, various flooring solutions, structural fibers, soil stabilizers, different kind of sealants and adhesives, thermal insulation products, various kind of protective coatings, cement grinding aids. These are all solutions which we produce and market under ACMAS Construction Chemicals. So this was a brief introduction about ACMAS. Now I'm coming to our today's topic, that is basically energy efficiency and thermal comfort and recent developments in this field. So it's very interesting subject, very relevant topic. Nowadays, all of us as an engineer, consultant, architect or developer, we are very much concerned about conservation of environment. There is a lot of discussion, lot of concern about growing population. We all see rapid urbanization, rapid industrialization. There is a excellent growth of building infrastructure. There is a growing demand for energy. Along with this, we also see the effects of global warming, urban heat islands. So these are the effects and impacts of recent development. So all of us hear a lot about green buildings and sustainability. What is green building? Why it is so important? Why all of us are discussing so much about green buildings and sustainability, protection of environment? So this concept has gained momentum and popularity in last 2 decades and has evolved a lot, especially in US and European countries. But it is gaining momentum in China, India, and a lot of Eastern countries. In India, a lot of awareness has already come, and a lot of actual projects have been already constructed and delivered in last 2 decades, which includes ITC Center, Godrej, Wipro, and there are so many buildings which have got LEED certification, which have been categorized as gold or platinum rated buildings. So what is green building and why it is so important? So green building is a building which is constructed with least environmental impact. So it is constructed in such a way with the design and construction processes which significantly reduce or eliminate negative impact of buildings on the environment. So main fundamental objectives of green building is to conserve nature and natural resources. All natural resources are very scarce. We cannot produce natural resources. It takes millions of years to generate natural resources, fossil fuels, and all those things. So we have to be very responsible in exploiting these natural resources. Then second important objective of green buildings is to increase the energy efficiency. The demand for energy is growing like anything. So we have to make a very efficient use of energy. Then equally important concern is to improve the indoor air quality. When we construct, we use different kind of materials. And some of these materials are not environment friendly, which involves a lot of solvents, which emits fumes and some polluting gases, which are not good for human health. So objective is to use the products which are eco-friendly, water-based, solvent-free, which doesn't have any environmental impact. What are the benefits from green buildings? So main benefit is to reduce destruction to ecology or environment, efficient utilization of resources during construction, reduce construction waste. Means we are adopting technology and techniques to reduce the construction waste. Our focus is on reducing the energy consumption after construction and during construction. And nowadays, a lot of focus is coming on extensive use of renewable energy, non-conventional energy resources like solar energy, wind energy, geothermal energy. Then efficient water management and better indoor air quality by using non-toxic and environment-friendly materials. So these are some important benefits of green buildings. So there is always a question arise whether it is economical, cost-effective to construct green buildings. So definitely the cost of a green building may be little more than the normal construction. It may be 10 to 30% more than the normal cost of normal construction of any building. But a green building helps to reduce the energy costs over a long period of time. And these savings may be somewhere between 30 to 60% or 65%. So if you consider the overall life cycle cost of any green building, it is actually economical and benefits are immense. So what are the strategies for green building achievement or to achieve green building? So we can put under various categories. First, the most simple and that is more important to the consultant and architects, applying basic architectural principles, which includes the optimal usage of natural resources, means natural light and conditioning of the space using the natural ventilation. Usage of energy efficient lightings. Intelligent features to reduce energy wastage. That may include sensor-based controls. So we are using intelligent lighting systems, intelligent ventilation systems, which are fitted with sensors. Usage of renewable energy sources. That includes more and more usage of wind power, solar power, and other renewable sources. Then reducing the material usage in construction. If we use more materials during construction, it definitely results in more exploitation of natural resources. So it will be always better to adopt the methods and technologies which require less usage of construction materials. And at the same time, less wastage, means either less wastage or usage of recyclable products, or using some techniques to recycle the construction wastes to minimize the overall environmental impacts. And efficient utilization of water resources, means efficient water management systems. So these are the some strategies which we can use to achieve green buildings. So green building is a concept, but what we are more concerned about nowadays, that is the energy consumption, especially for the countries like India, which are developing, where there is a growing population, there is a growing building infrastructure, per capita energy consumption is growing. So there is a huge demand of energy. And if we don't utilize energy efficiently, it puts a lot of environmental impacts, because producing 1 megawatt per hour energy results in a production of huge carbon dioxide and other harmful gases, because most of energy nowadays is produced through thermal powers by burning coal. So it is always better to use as less energy as possible without compromising thermal comfort, working conditions. So any attempt to save building energy is beneficial. If we look at the energy consumption in the buildings, most of the energy is consumed in air conditioning, means for HVAC applications, heating or cooling. So it's almost about 55% of total energy is used in air conditioning, followed by about 20% for lighting and 20% for ventilation purpose, and 5-7% for other applications, other uses. So nowadays there is a lot of focus on energy rating of the buildings, which basically study and analyze how efficient the building is in terms of energy utilization. So that is basically summary of building's energy audit. It provides information about building's energy consumption and its efficiency. So in any building either receive or lost energy, maximum happens through the roofs. So about 25% energy losses through roofs, followed by about more than 30% through the walls, because roof will be only one, but every building will have 4 walls. So energy losses through walls will be more than roof. Then windows and glazings, and some loss happens through floors and openings. So when we define energy ratings, or when we rate any building in terms of energy rating, they study a lot of things, various kind of energy flows, various kind of utilization, losses, and all these things are studied and analyzed. So what are the main factors which affects the building energy rating? These includes thermal insulation of the building, heat gains through glazed openings and windows, ventilation and air permeability, hot water system and air conditioning of the space. That may be heating or cooling depending on the climate. Some countries are cold, so they require heating, and some countries are cold, hot, so they require cooling. And heat gains due to lighting and other internal usage of energy. So considering all this, there is a vast scope for energy saving or improving the energy efficiency in buildings. It may be new construction, so we can design the buildings in such a way to maximize the energy efficiency, or it may be the existing constructions, existing buildings. So we can study, analyze, and we can devise ways to improve the energy efficiency in the existing buildings. So there is a huge potential for energy saving. By efficient utilization of energy, we can save up to 40%. So how we can reduce the energy consumption, or how we can improve the energy efficiency? Either we can reduce the energy usage for air conditioning, means heating or cooling, or water heating. We can also control energy consumption through efficient usage of lightings, office equipments, appliances. So in nutshell, we can say we can improve energy efficiency of a building either by reducing the heating demand or cooling demand, or reducing the energy requirement for ventilation by using more and more natural lighting and more natural air for ventilation purpose. Reducing energy usage for lighting, we can use energy efficient lightings, intelligent lighting systems, sensor based lighting systems. We can also reduce the energy used for heating water. We can adopt solar energy to heat water. And we can also use energy efficient appliances and equipments in residential, commercial, or office buildings, wherever we are talking about. So these all can be further detailed. I think need not to spend much time. Briefly, we have already discussed. So most important starts with the design of the buildings, means applying basic architectural principles to improve the energy efficiency of the buildings. That includes orientation of the building, usage of thermal masses, building defining the correct surface to volume ratio of the buildings, positioning and sizing of the openings, windows, glazing, shading, and selection of right construction materials for walls, roofs, windows, utilization of insulation systems, and using landscaping in such a way to improve the energy efficiency of the buildings. So by taking all these measures, we can achieve 10 to 40% reduction in energy usage of any building. which is significant. So first, we discuss using energy efficient appliances. So appliances nowadays comes with energy labeling. So we can use star rated equipments and appliances to minimize the energy consumption. That may result in almost 20% of energy savings. Energy efficient lightings. Utilization of renewable energy usages like solar water heating, solar panels, geothermal energy usage, wind powers, and nowadays all usage of all these renewable energy sources, it is increasing. There is a lot of focus from government also. So nowadays in many of the metro cities, if building is beyond a certain size, they want them to install the solar panels to take maximum advantage of solar power. So having energy efficient building is beneficial to all of us, be it an architect, consultant, engineer, or builder. They are always looking ways to enhance energy efficiency of the buildings by optimum utilization of energy, because it directly links with the savings by reducing energy bills and also maintaining the overall comfort. So energy efficiency is one thing, but equally important is the maintaining right thermal comfort inside the buildings. Because most of us spend more than 80 to 90% of our total time in buildings. It may be either office or our home. So if we don't get sufficient thermal comfort, it is very difficult to work. It is not good for health also. So thermal comfort is very important. So there is a need to strike a balance between energy efficiency and thermal comfort. We want to get more and more thermal comfort, but at the same time, we want to reduce the consumption of energy. So both are two different phenomena, but we can achieve both at the same time by intelligent usage of different building materials, construction materials, and intelligent design. So what is thermal comfort? Thermal comfort, basically it is a heat balance in our body. By keeping our sweating rate within comfortable limits, so that we don't feel too cold or too hot. Because if it is too cold, we start feeling restless. If it is too warm or it is warm and humid, it is very difficult to work. We feel tired. So a right temperature, a right humidity needs to be maintained. And thermal comfort level varies from person to person. It is not same for all. And it has a great impact on person's working efficiency, his health. So we cannot compromise on thermal comfort. So a lot of studies have been conducted, and a temperature of around 20 to 22 degrees ideal for best working efficiency or productivity and health. But climate is not same everywhere. and during all months of the year. So India is a large country which experiences different kind of climatic conditions in different parts. That includes hot climate, that includes cold climate, that include hot and humid, that include a moderate climate. So all different kind of climates we experience in different parts of country and in different seasons. So we need to understand the climate and the thermal comfort. Accordingly, we need to design our buildings. So how we can design buildings for thermal comfort? So there are 3-4 very basic things. By maintaining correct air tightness and ventilation, what do you mean by air tightness and ventilation? Because a lot of heat or cooling loss happens through different openings and also from different surfaces. It may be roof, it may be walls. So we need to create an envelope which is airtight, which minimize heating or cooling losses and control the indoor thermal environment. Second, thermal inertia. So we use such materials to construct the building, like we choose between bricks, stones, wood, blocks, which have a direct impact on the internal environment. Means how fast external conditions transfer or affect the internal environment of the buildings. So by choosing correct building materials, we can minimize that. Third important thing is the solar gain. So overall designing in terms of shape, orientation, size of the windows, number of windows, shading of the windows, we can control solar light and its impact on the building. It can be used to heat the buildings or it can be used to minimize the heating of the buildings depending on the climate. And fourth one is the insulation, usage of insulation. So insulation are becoming very, very important, especially in extreme climatic conditions which are very hot or very cold. Because insulation helps in reducing the thermal losses. It may be cooling loss or heating loss. So if it is a hot climate, our focus will be on cooling the indoor environment by increasing the air movement, maintaining the air temperature and correct level of humidity. If it is a cold environment or cold climate, our emphasis will be on the warm and fresh air. In cold climates, humidity is not that important as it is important in case of hot climates. Because if it is hot and humid, it becomes unbearable. So if you look at the buildings, typical buildings in India, we see that most of our roofs are nowadays are constructed from reinforced cement concrete, RCC, thickness varying from 100 to 150 mm. And walls are usually 125 to 225, means 4.5 inches to 9 inches brick wall with plaster. Or nowadays we are using block walls also. So we can design roofs of the building in such a way that it reduce the thermal losses. Means if it is a cold climate, it should not absorb more heat. So it should not. It should not help in reducing the inside temperature. Means cooling loss should not be there. If it is hot climate, it should absorb less and less heat, and it should radiate more and more heat. So overall objective is to achieve least absorption of heat, which results in increase in temperature. So how we can achieve this? There are a number of ways. The most important solution nowadays, which we are adopting very fast, that is insulation. We are using different kind of insulations. There are different type of insulation materials are available. That includes thermocol, that includes XPS, extruded polystyrene, that includes spray applied PU foams, that includes foam concrete, glass wool, mineral wool. So various kind of building insulation materials can be used to take advantage of thermal insulation. Because a building without insulation results in lot of energy losses, lot of energy wastage. So if you want to reduce the energy consumption and improve the energy efficiency, usage of insulation materials helps a lot. So there are two ways. First, by using insulation, we can improve building energy in two ways. First, when we create a envelope, means using insulation for roof and walls and using correct type of windows, we can create a airtight envelope, and that will minimize the energy losses. And second, that is basically during construction, means how we can construct energy efficient building. And second is post construction, means maintenance part, operational part, means how we can improve the energy efficiency, means by using intelligent lighting or energy efficient lighting, using energy efficient air conditioning, heating systems, and all those things, and more usage of renewable energy resources like solar power or wind power. So main role of thermal insulation is to improve the building's thermal efficiency or energy efficiency. It helps in conservation of energy by reducing the heating and cooling loss and improving the thermal comfort. So that is directly linked with the productivity and efficiency of the person and health of the persons living inside the building. That insulation is not only important for buildings, it is equally important for industrial processes also, industrial applications also, because it helps in reducing energy costs, improves the process control, improves and controls the amount of condensation, reducing polluting emissions. Because when we use more and more energy, it requires a lot of exploitation of natural resources to produce energy. So if we can control the energy usage, it helps in reducing the emissions also, carbon footprints also. Thermal insulation also helps in improving the internal environment, means working conditions inside a building, and overall good return on investment. So if we can improve the thermal efficiency and if we can reduce the energy loads, that will definitely result into better returns or more savings. So selection of insulation materials generally depends on two things, R value and U value. R is basically thermal resistance offered by any insulation material. It is the resistance offered to heat flow. And U value is the thermal transmittance. That is inverse of thermal resistance, means U is equal to 1 by R. And U is the main criteria based on which we select any insulating material for the buildings or any other industrial processes. So nowadays, in addition to usage of different insulation materials, there is another trend of using precast construction. Precast construction is basically we are producing a building inside factory. Instead of constructing at site, we are using more and more precast elements. It may include beams, columns, sometimes different elements of buildings. So that results in various benefits. First, these are high quality, more durable. In terms of costings, they are more cost effective. They help in conserving energy and better quality control, faster construction. So there are various benefits of precast construction. So that is one of the latest trends towards green building construction and improving the energy efficiency during construction. What are the emerging insulation materials? More and more usage of AAC blocks and panels instead of red clay bricks. So nowadays we can see most of the buildings are using AAC blocks or panels to construct all internal and external walls. And they offer very good thermal insulation in terms of having low thermal conductivity, which varies from 0.03 to 0.04 watt per MK. Another trend is to create cavity walls. When we create a cavity walls, there will be air between the two faces of the wall, and air is a bad conductor of heat. It acts as an insulation material. So if you provide a gap of 20 to 30 millimeter, it offers a good amount of insulation. The usage of cavity walls is also increasing. Then another insulation material, that is extruded polystyrene boards. These are being used for last 2 to 3 decades. They have very good thermal conductivity. They comes in the form of preformed panels of different thicknesses, which can be directly installed. So it can be installed as over deck insulation system or under deck insulation systems. And they can also be used for walls. If we look for a cheaper alternative for insulation, then expanded polystyrene, that is very common. Expanded polystyrene board offers a good insulation, but it has a lot of issues in terms of performance, in terms of durability. So people are shifting more towards XPS or spray applied PU foam insulation. Nowadays, the trend of spray applied polyurethane foam is increasing. As compared to expanded polystyrene or extruded polystyrene, there is a big difference. This is basically applied at the site as per requirement and desired thickness. It is basically a spray applied, seamless, jointless, fully bonded system. So that offers very good thermal insulation because thermal conductivity is very low. It ranges from 0.023 to 0.024 watt per MK. So that is lowest among all these 4-5 insulation materials we have discussed so far. Another very commonly used material is foam concrete. Foam concrete is very easy and very durable system, cost effective as well. It offers very good resistance to thermal losses and mainly uses for roofs to provide insulation as well as to create slopes. So there are so many different insulation materials available to be used in buildings, but still the usage of insulation is very low in most of the buildings. So according to a recent survey, it has been found that many of the people don't have any idea about insulation specifications. They don't understand environmental impacts of more and more energy consumption. They are not very concerned about energy efficiency of the buildings, or they don't understand, or they are not clear what cost they will invest and what savings they will gain out of using the insulations, and what will be the overall payback period. So all this leads to low usage of insulation materials and poor efficiency of energy consumption. So as consultant, architects and engineers, it is our responsibility to make people aware, make people understand the importance of insulation and importance of energy efficiency. Other latest trends towards improving the energy efficiency and to maintain thermal comfort is green roofs. Lot of buildings we can see with green roofs, and this trend is increasing. Although it is not a new trend, in some of the European countries, they have been using green roofs for more than 6 decades. But in India, this concept is popularizing now, and this is gaining momentum in last 1 to 2 decades only. So what are the green roofs and how they contribute towards energy efficiency and maintaining thermal comfort? And what is the concept behind green roofs? So when we construct more and more buildings, we are basically losing natural space, which otherwise would have been occupied by vegetation and greenery. So when we construct, we are losing that space. But the same can be compensated by growing plantation, vegetation on the roofs. And there are multiple benefits of green roofs. So basically a green roof is a partially or completely covered with vegetation or growing medium. So a typical construction of green roof will involve a good waterproofing system followed by a growing medium where vegetation can be grown. So green roofs can be put under 3 categories: extensive green roofs, semi-intensive green roofs, and intensive green roofs. So 2 broad categories: intensive and extensive, and semi-intensive is in between. So when we say extensive green roof, we are talking about very small size plantation or vegetation like grass, herbs, mosses, which doesn't require or which doesn't grow beyond a certain height, maybe about 6 to 8 inches maximum, which doesn't put much weight on the roof of the building, and overall cost of installing such green roof is very low, maintenance costs are very low. On the other hand, when we talk about intensive roofs, these are designed to grow larger plants, where height of the plant may be 6 inches to 1 meter, or sometimes more than 1 meter also, which puts a lot of weight on the structure which may vary from 180 to 500 kg per square meter. The overall cost of installing such roof is high, and maintenance cost is also high because we have to regularly maintain such intensive green roofs. And semi-intensive is in between the two. So based on our overall requirements, budget, and other factors, we can choose either intensive, extensive, or semi-intensive green roof. What are the benefits of green roofs? Why we are talking so much? Why this concept is gaining more popularity? Because it helps in two different kind of benefits: environmental benefits and financial benefits. In terms of environmental benefits, it helps in reducing heating of the buildings. When we add greenery on the roof, definitely roof and other parts of the building will absorb less and less heat. It offers good thermal resistance also. So overall cooling costs inside the building, or we can say overall air conditioning cost of the building reduces when we use green roofs. Other way how it helps, because when we grow plantation and vegetation on the roofs, a lot of evaporation happens, and that helps in controlling the temperatures. It also helps in reducing the storm water effect, because most of the heavy rains, during heavy rains, most of the water will flow away. But if we grow a green roof, we have a green roof on the roof, lot of water will be absorbed. The green roofs also helps in fighting with pollution, reducing the levels of carbon dioxide and other pollutants. Greenery filters the pollutants and heavy metals, and they provide fresh air, more oxygen. So that is good for health. And in terms of LEED certification, green roofs helps in improving the LEED points, getting more LEED points. If we look at the financial benefits, overall life of the building or structure will increase, because India is a tropical country where there is a lot of temperature changes from season to season and from day to night. So when a temperature change, lot of thermal expansion contractions will happen, and that have a direct impact on the life of the structure. So if you install a green roof, it will help in reducing the impact of these temperature changes on the structure. So overall life will improve. Second benefit, when we use green roofs, it helps in reducing the energy costs. So that is direct saving. And overall value of the structure or buildings or whatever it is, it will improve. So it is not very simple to install a green roof on the building. It requires a lot of consideration in terms of waterproofing, in terms of maintaining heat balance, considering the overall load impact. So all needs to be considered. But having a good waterproofing system is very, very critical and important to grow a green roof. Because a green roof will be always exposed to the water. And generally, these are large open areas. So we need to have a good waterproofing system which can accommodate all kind of thermal expansion and contractions, which can resist the growth of roots, which can resist various kind of chemicals and pesticides which are required for green roofs, and which can accommodate traffic also. And at the same time, these materials should be environment friendly. So considering all these factors, we need to choose correct waterproofing system and overall green roof system. So nowadays, various kind of waterproofing solutions are available, which are available in the form of membranes or liquid applied coatings. But we recommend liquid applied coatings like polyurethane and polyurea, which are fully bonded with the substrate, which can accommodate thermal expansion and contractions, which are seamless, free from joints. They can take any shape as per the geometry and construction of the roof. So these are normally applied with the help of spray or roller. After application, they form a seamless, joint-free, fully bonded film, which has good flexibility, good capability to accommodate expansion and contraction, and which are very durable. Another solution for green roofs is polyurea. That is the richest application specification in terms of waterproofing. So these are very strong seamless membranes, spray applied membranes, which has very high mechanical properties in terms of good tensile strength, elongation, fast curing systems, which has very good resistance to chemicals, very good resistance to root penetration. So this is a basic system adopted for green roofs. So on main concrete slab, a good waterproofing system is applied, followed by a insulation system. Insulation may be or it may not be. Then we need to have a good growing media. So that includes installation of drainage boards, geotextile and soil. So main purpose of providing drainage board is to draining out the excess water and at the same time maintaining the exact right amount of moisture and humidity. So having a green roof helps in many ways and it is trend is increasing. Another trend which is becoming very popular nowadays, that is cool roofs. Earlier we have been talking only about waterproofing systems, but now we are talking waterproofing along with thermal insulation. So various kind of products and solutions are available. By using those solutions, we can make our buildings energy efficient, we can create more thermal comfort, and we can achieve a lot of savings. So what is the concept of cool roof? Most of the buildings absorb a lot of solar heat. So this heat is directly transferred to the spaces below the roof and increase the inside temperature. But we can control the amount of this heat which is transferred inside the building. So either we can use some materials which reflects more and more of this solar heat and emit more and more of the absorbed heat. So a product with high solar reflectance and a product with high emittance will help in reducing heat absorption. So normally we say that there are some surfaces which absorb a lot of heat, especially dark color or black surfaces. And light or white color surfaces reflect most of the heats and absorb very less heat. So the cool roof coatings are designed on this principle only. So we need to understand why we should use cool roofs. Nowadays, most of the buildings have a lot of air conditioning systems installed to ensure right thermal comfort. So these air conditioning systems continuously working and causing a lot of power bills. But this can be reduced by using cool roofs. Because air conditioning not only results in more and more power usage, but it also have a lot of environmental effects. Because more power means more emissions, more exploitation of natural resources like coal, gas. So we should always try to minimize the energy consumption inside the buildings. And India being a tropical country, we are more concerned about the heating. As the population is growing and urbanization is growing, we experience heat island effect. What is heat island effect? The temperature inside the urban areas, especially around the cluster of commercial or residential buildings, it is more than the temperature outside the city. So there is a temperature difference can be from 1 to 3 degree between rural and urban areas. And this temperature may become difference maybe more, maybe up to 10 degree in case of evenings, especially in a city which is having more than 1 million people. So by using green roofs, we can, or by using cool roofs, we can help reducing the heat island effect, and we can help achieving better energy efficiency. So what are the benefits of cool roof coatings? They help in reducing interior temperature by 5 to 10 degrees. There are some coatings which reflects more and more of heat, absorb less heat, and help reducing the inside air temperature. If we look at the roof surface temperature, that is also significant difference we can experience between coated surface and non-coated surface. We can find a temperature difference of 20 to 60 degree in peak summers. So when we use more of cool roofs, we consume less energy. That helps in reducing energy costs and extending the life of air conditioning systems. And these coatings can be applied on almost every kind of surface. It can be metal, it can be concrete, it can be wood. On all type of surfaces we can apply. So in ACMAS, we offer a solution in the name of ACMAGuard Thermocoat that not only reflects the heat, it also has a very low thermal conductivity because it utilizes both the concepts, high solar reflectance and low thermal conductivity by introducing some ceramic bubbles inside the coating, which are bad conductor of heat. Very easy to apply on existing or new construction. It may be industrial, residential, commercial, any kind of buildings we can apply. Another solution nowadays which helps in improving the energy efficiency, that is a TPO membranes. These are factory made sheet membranes which are used as a waterproofing system along with heat insulation system. They comes along with reflective surface. So they provide waterproofing along with heat reflectivity. So overall temperature gain inside the buildings where TPO are involved applied is less. These are eco-friendly products, very durable, recyclable, and easy to apply. They are generally loosely applied, so they remain independent of expansion and contractions in the structure. They can be applied only as a TPO system or TPO along with insulation system. So nowadays, a lot of construction or buildings are using TPO membranes and then installing solar panels also. So TPO is helping in reducing energy gain or heat gain, and solar panels are helping in terms of generating solar power. Then usage of spray applied PU foam, I think we have already discussed. So overall objective of achieving energy efficient buildings is to ensure that we maintain right amount of thermal comfort without increasing energy consumption too much. A normal building may consume power from 100 megawatt per hour per square meter, and it may go up to 450. Especially in case of commercial buildings like BPOs and IT companies, which operates 24/7. So we all can work towards achieving energy efficient buildings. There are a lot of things available in terms of design, in terms of usage of right kind of construction materials like AC blocks, AC panels, uses of different kind of insulation materials, using green roofs and cool roofs. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rajiv ji, and the question answers will come. And on behalf of the committee, I thank you for for your acceptance in very short notice, and it is a wonderful election. I think all the architects are enjoyed. And next, I think question answers will come. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We have few questions in the chat box from the participants, sir. On behalf of the participants, we will ask you the questions. Can we go?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So the first question: what are green rating system evaluation parameters for old or heritage buildings? Advice on its challenges and solutions.
Okay. You are talking about heritage buildings.
Yes, sir.
So far, like green rating systems are focusing more on new construction, but definitely there is a great potential for achieving high energy efficiency in heritage buildings and existing buildings also, because there are a lot of heritage buildings where we are consuming a lot of natural resources and more power usage. So definitely we can study and we can find efficient ways of using less and less power using more non-conventional energy resources like solar power. Solar power is the easiest way to reduce dependence on conventional power, because most of the heritage buildings have large areas, large surface areas where solar panels can be installed and that power can be used to for lighting and ventilation purposes. So that is the easiest way. Other way is to minimize the energy losses. We can use wherever possible. It may not be possible in all cases. Wherever possible, we can use insulation systems. Insulation systems like simple ways to use this spray applied foams.
Yeah, we have next question, sir. Kindly share your thoughts on electrochromic windows mechanism.
Sorry?
Kindly share your thoughts on electrochromic windows mechanism.
About this, I am not really very aware. So I'm sorry for this.
Okay, sir. Okay. How differently is eco-friendly building and platinum rated building in rating system?
Eco-friendly building and platinum rated buildings can be?
How different it is, sir, both of them?
Okay. So platinum rated building, that is basically a LEED certification and the highest rating in terms of LEED certification. But any building can be made eco-friendly by efficient usage of natural resources, reducing the energy consumption. But when we go for certification, there is a body which certify eco-friendly buildings, and that certification starts from just LEED certification, then silver, gold, and platinum rated. So based on the kind of materials they use during construction, the impact they have in terms of exploitation of various natural resources, how well they manage the construction waste, how well they manage overall designing to minimize the energy usage and overall impact on the environment. So based on that, they have categorized silver rated. Silver rated, that is the just after certification, it is the lowest rating. Then gold rated and platinum is the highest rated. So in platinum rated, it is the highest level of certification where not only during construction, even after construction, they take care of all impacts of various resources on environment without compromising human health and thermal comfort, and help in improving the productivity.
Okay, sir, we'll go to the next question. What parameters are there to check sick building syndrome in green building rating system?
Sorry, can you repeat it?
Yes, sir. What parameters are there to check sick building syndrome in green building rating system?
I couldn't understand.
Sir, to check sick building syndrome, sick
building.
Yeah, to check sick building syndrome, what are the parameters that we need to look at?
Okay. No. Not really having idea about this.
Okay, the last question, sir. By what percentage of green roof cover can compensate in urban areas with respect to the forest spread to eradicate global warming problems?
Yeah, global warming definitely it's a big concern nowadays. So we can definitely adopt as much as possible to like usage of green roofs, usage of cool roofs, usage of insulation systems. So all this help because basic idea behind green roofs is to compensate for the loss which has occurred to the environment due to construction. So forests definitely they have highest greenery, and they contributes a lot in terms of generating fresh air, more oxygen, and minimizing the various impacts like means storm water in terms of controlling the heat island effect and all those things. Green roof can help, but it cannot completely compare itself against the forest. So to a large extent, we can reduce the heat island effect in the cities by using more and more of green roofs. So, but it is also a true fact that 100% area cannot be green roof. So maybe we can utilize 60 to 70%.
Sorry, sir, I'll repeat the question. There is one more question in the chat box. Please provide us broad cost of cool roofs, new buildings and old buildings for SFT.
Okay. So cool roofs, when we talk about heat reflective coating systems. So although there are various products available in the market from different manufacturers, but heat reflective coating based cool roof system, that is the most economic one. So these coatings for a new construction will cost somewhere between 40 to 50 rupees per square feet. That includes material cost and as well as application cost. So it remains same whether it's old roof or new construction. In case of old roof, if surface is not in sound condition, then repair cost will be extra. Otherwise, it will cost between 40 to 60 rupees for both old and new construction.
Yes, sir. Sir, one more question, if you don't mind, can I continue, sir?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Could you please give us an example of an unsuccessful terrace garden and the reasons of its failure?
Which terrace garden?
No, any example, sir? Any example of an unsuccessful terrace garden?
Unsuccessful terrace garden. Yes,
Yeah.
there may be numerous examples of unsuccessful terrace garden because having terrace garden or green roof everyone wants, but it requires a lot of well-designed system and regular maintenance. Because if you do not design green roof or terrace garden correctly, if you don't use correct waterproofing system, it may result in a lot of water leakages and lot of impacts inside the building in terms of reducing the overall life of the building. So when we design a terrace garden or green roof, we should adopt a system or waterproofing solution which is sufficient enough to take care of continuous water exposure first. Second, considering the climatic conditions, it should be able to accommodate all expansion and contractions with temperature changes. And it should have good anti-root properties because terrace garden and green roofs will have plants and shrubs which will have some roots. So it should be sufficiently strong and should have a anti-root properties so that it is not affected by the roots, and should have a good chemical resistance, because in case of application of pesticides and other chemicals, those chemicals can have an impact on the waterproofing system. So a good waterproofing system, and we recommend a liquid applied system is better than any sheet membrane kind of system. So in most of the cases in where this system has become unsuccessful, that is either because the growing media was not able to maintain the right moisture and humidity level to grow the plants. So that depends basically the drainage system we use below the soil. So that should be correctly designed. It should be able to not only drain out the excess water, but it should be able to maintain right amount of moisture inside the soil to grow the plants. So there are number of cases where either the system has failed due to incorrect drainage system or due to improper waterproofing system.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. We are done with the questions.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The session was very informative, giving us an insight to understand energy efficiency and thermal comfort from the perspective of sustainable development. The recent trends and techniques with the sustainable materials helps us to design, keeping in the mind the needs and requirements of future generation. Thank you once again, sir.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time and this opportunity. I'm sorry I could not answer two questions because, as I initially told, this is not my core subject, but this topic was very interesting. So I took this topic and presented this. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.